Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Leal. Today we have the moon going through Leo. This is a creative energy of radiating what lights up inside to do and that can contribute with light to others, or just doing something creative because we are enjoying it and not necessarily is a vital part of our purpose. But also, this moon in Leo could emphasize topics related to self-esteem, like not feeling well if there is not external recognition according to the expectations that we have, or this excessive need of external approval by other people to make decisions, seeking for attention in childish ways. And these things, and among other learnings regarding the channeling of the energy of Leo, all of these are going to be the focus of the 2026, because Leo is going to be the south node and Aquarius the north node from July officially. Eclipses are going to be given in these signs, so the processes of eclipses are impacting all of us, no matter which is our ascendant, moon, sun. The entire zodiacal wheel is contained in our natal chart. Okay, so early morning of tomorrow, the moon is going to connect in trines, which are harmonic aspects with Mercury retrograde in Mars in Sagittarius, that are in conjunction from yesterday, and even this is perfected on November 12th. And we have to add that tomorrow also Jupiter starts to be retrograde. This could be a moment in which situations that we have transited, that we have been transiting until this moment, are amplifying an emotional state which responds to Jupiter in Cancer. And we have to remember that when we are talking about uncomfortable emotions, they are valid, but also these transits are inviting us to look things from other perspectives, so we can channel those emotions and our energy in a way that can represent growth for oneself and for everything that is surrounding us. These transits, we have to read them in conjunct, because the union of Mercury retrograde and Mars in Sagittarius is representing for many people to connect with a truth. For some people, could not be a comfortable truth. This means that it's removing certain emotions. For other people, this is about reaffirming in their purpose, or recognizing what they need to do in another level right now inwards to continue expanding themselves in that purpose. For example, if we are approaching a path or project that intuitively, which is Jupiter in Cancer, we feel that brings growth because of the wisdom that we are extracting, the things that we are learning, but perhaps in the level of results, this is not matching the expectations. This could occur perhaps because there is an excess of focus on the results, and many times because we have too high perspectives. This means disconnected from the processes that we require to transit. This means not respecting to oneself the path that we require to develop that expansion. Not because the growth that we want to manifest is not possible, but because we have to create a space. It is this concept of expanding the vessel of Kabbalah to be receptors. Because if we don't make place for things, perhaps because we are giving energy to things that are not part of that purpose, or there is no affinity of form with the things that we would like to experiment, those things cannot come, or we can lose them if they come, because we are not able to sustain them. So for some people, this has to do with directions or situations that are not serving to their purposes. If I want a project to be expanded, and let's remember that when I talk about a project, I am referring to whatever thing has sense to you, purpose, and that is related to the growth in whatever area of your life. This is going to depend on the individual path, on the phase in which we are transiting, and on how connected we are with our purpose. But to make things simple, if I am doing something regarding those things that I want to create, and all the time I am telling myself things are going to be wrong, as an example, I am having inner dialogues that are not in coherence with that expansion. If I want to create, other example, if I want to create perception of abundance, and the concept of abundance, many people are relating it, with material possessions, but we could talk about abundance of love, of positive experiences, of enthusiasm, of knowledge. And In any case, if what is required are material resources, because they are an important means as a passage through this plane, understanding in first place that abundance is not accumulating matter for the simple fact of accumulating, but to be able to carry a life with purpose that can enable us to enjoy. And when we are discovering what we came here to do, or we are in that path, or we enter in contact with what our soul needs, the plenitude opens its way. But we are talking about covering up all the necessary things in the matter to carry on that project of life while the process requires so. And being able to share and to experiment the plenitude in whatever the way the soul wants to experiment that. Having affinity or form with that requires to make a practice of appreciation of what is already. Because if we only see scarcity, if we only see a scarcity, we are configuring our mind to only focus in that and to close every possibility. To restructure a reality requires of decisions to it. It's not only staying in the plane of the mind, but we know that our mind and its conditionings have an influence in our biology, in the matter. This is confirmed by the science. It is not something that I am inventing. So other situation could be, if I want to create nourishing relationships in every area of life, among the possibilities, because we can always have encounters with people that we have perhaps we don't desire to be surrounded by them, but there is something that we have to learn. But I want to focus in the things that we do choose. So if we are choosing to relating with people and in those relationships we have to cede too much energy, our well-being, or we are the ones that we are taking a lot because we are depending on those people in a non-evolutionary way for fear of being alone, for example, that is not coherent again. And a conditioning is changed first with awareness. We cannot change something that we are not seeing. And later with presence to detect the moment that is going to be reactivated, because conditionings have the tendency to be reactivated. And then this is about practice, because life is reflecting that what we are sustaining inside and what we do, and not what we say in a certain moment that we want. With all of this, what I'm trying to say is that the conjunction between Mercury retrograde and Mars in Sagittarius could be showing, especially through anger, what is not having a purpose anymore to sustain. Because yesterday I was saying the truth operates regarding our own perception, but if we are not making this review before communicating or deciding with a lot of anger, we could redirect that energy, in a way that is not constructive. I'm going to put another hypothetical example so this can be understood. If a person is giving too much and putting all of himself or herself so a relationship can work, where the other is not doing anything in a reciprocal way to improve things, and the person comes to the point where it is not giving attention to himself or herself, putting aside physical, mental, emotional needs, the caring of his or her energy, then the anger appears because the person is not responding as it was expected. And even though one aspect of that truth could be seeing the selfishness in the other, and even it is very valid to feel anger because that is indicating that there is something that cannot be sustained anymore. But then there is other side, and it is understanding that getting angry and to be excessively aggressive so the other person can change, it is not going to be the solution. In fact, it turns into manipulation because it's forcing the other person to be or to do something that perhaps don't want, or it is not able, his or her is not able to give. So this conjunction could determine a point where we need to communicate or decide something, but with a previous revision, so we are aware of our participation in determined situations. Because if we start without breaks to tell the truths with quotation marks, that could come from a disconnected ego. And also have in account that in certain cases, not saying anything and to retire the energy and to place it in another space could be a way of communicating and a way of deciding with purpose and of taking care of our energy. So it is important to be attentive of our own tendencies. People that have the tendency to impulsivity are going to express it, are going to have the propension, I don't know if I'm mentioning that word, to express it with this aspect. And for that reason, they are expressing the need of regulating themselves, because not everything, saying everything that we think or believe, it is not always something that is contributing. There are forms of honesty with quotation marks that could emerge from spaces of very low consciousness, where the intention is to be right and sometimes to hurt, and it is not about facing a conflict and to open ourselves to new ways of resolving that. We could all have moments like this, but it is a key to be capable of looking ourselves and not to justify. Now, for the people that have the tendency to not express, the people that have the tendency to repress their martial energy, this means that they are feeling bad when they have to express something they don't like, or that is crossing a healthy boundary, or saying no to something that they genuinely don't want to do. Those people need to channel this so they are not exploding inside and taking consequent actions with that they are seeing right now that is not having an expansive purpose in their reality. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.